we're now ready to begin working on our arm rig. So we're just about finished here. After the arms are finished, after we add IKFK arms, make them blendable, add some decent finger controls. Once those are set up and we have the shoulder controls working, we'll then want to just double check our rig, make sure everything's working just fine. Make sure as we freeze our transforms, the controls are going where they need to go. Right back to this T-pose. And again, once we double check our rig, we'd be ready to get right into enveloping, which is our very last task to complete the entire character. So let's say we go ahead and get started. I'll move over to the front view, which in this case is the back, and we'll go to our layer manager, make sure we can select our character to turn back on X-ray, and then freeze the character after that. We want to definitely be mindful of the topology, so we'll want to leave wireframe mode on. And we're going to start by drawing out the shoulder. So I'll head over to the bone tools and we'll begin. And again, this takes a good study of anatomy to know exactly where to place these bones. If we place them at the wrong spot, we may have the arm deforming irregularly. Alright, so this pivot for the shoulder is going to be right underneath the neck. And then we can draw out the end here right where the arm would bend in. Okay, so now that we have that in place, we can move back over to our perspective. I'll minimize the bone tools, and we can go ahead and bring the shoulder in. Selecting that root, just bringing that in. And we could take that end effector and kind of rotate that in as well, just to get ready for the arm bone that we're about to make. We wouldn't want to create the arm bone from the shoulder, just because we want that independent control over the arm's orientation. Okay, so I'll show you what I'm talking about as we continue, but let's go ahead and rename these that we've made. That's going to be BN underscore L underscore SHLD, shoulder abbreviated, 01. Copy the name, go to the nub, and just press page down, paste, and that's going to be BE, shoulder end. Okay, now for the arm, similar to what we did with the leg, where we established what would be best for the preferred angle of our chain to bend the knee, we need to think about the same thing for the arm. I find that the top view here would be best to draw it out in. So let's head over to the top view and draw this out. Okay, so working on our left side here, we'll bring back our bone tools. And I'll kind of minimize this, shrink it down. We'll start to draw out our chain. You can kind of see this shoulder nub here, see our shoulder chain, and even though it may be kind of tricky to draw out that first bone, we could always bring back its position to be connected right at the end of our shoulder afterwards. So let's go ahead and just draw this bone chain out, and I'll actually bring back the camera a little bit here. We will be adding another bone for the elbow, just like what we did with the knee, making this a double joint setup. We'll go ahead and draw this right at the wrist. Okay, so here is our arm bone. From here, we'll go ahead and bring this up. Make sure it's centered in the arm. Okay, great. And then from there, we'll definitely want to fix this pivot. If it were to pivot from here, we'd have this gap in our arm. It wouldn't look right at all. So let's say we go to bone edit mode and bring this root, snap it right on top of the end nub of the shoulder. So press Shift A and snap. But we don't want this angle here. We'd want to keep it straight. So I'll actually use the Alt-A snap for this one. Go ahead and undo that. Just hit cancel. Rerun the tool, turn off the orientation, alignment, and in this case, we don't want to have it modified in the Z, just the Y and X. So we'll choose OK. And there we have it. By having it straight like this, it's going to be a lot easier for us to set up our arm controls. Okay, next thing we'd want to do is take this end nub and align it in bone edit mode to our arm. Now that that's done, we can set up a position constraint between our arm and the shoulder so that as we rotate that shoulder up, only the arm's position will move. That's what we want initially, so that we have full control over the orientation of the arm. So to do this, it's a matter of selecting our arm bone, going to position constraint, and choosing the nub. So again, as we select that shoulder, start to rotate that up. Oh, I'll go ahead and turn off bone edit mode. As we start to rotate that up, here's what we get. Great. Let's say we go ahead and rename our arm bones. Then we can color code the chain. We're not going to mirror it just yet. We're going to do a few more things to this setup before we mirror. So it's going to be BNL arm 01. Copy that. And this is going to be elbow. Then the forearm. And then finally that end nub. This is going to be BE wrist end. Okay, so again with our shoulder selected, our arm selected, we can press Control page down to get to the rest of the bones in the chain and go ahead and color code these. So we could use the blue we've been using. We darken it up a little bit more. Then for the end, a lighter blue. Alright, and there we have it. Okay, so for now that's going to finish up the setup of our arms. We have our bones in place. And in the next lesson, we're going to go ahead and create our hand bones.